Greetings trading card game fans, it's your boy Field Marshal Klaus, formerly known as J Ruler, and I am back this month on TCG Scrub's channel to bring you the top 10 most valuable cards in the Force of Will trading card game back by popular demand. I was very pleased to see the results of the last video when I started this series back up. TCG Scrubs, thanks again guys, Colin, Oscar, Joey, for asking me to do this series. It went over very well, so as long as you guys out there watching like this series, I will continue to do that. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone about my current project. I put Force of Will to the side to focus on some other things, one being my own tabletop game, which is available to play on Lackey CCG for free. It is called Darkest Days World War II card game at darkestdayscg.com, and we just recently released our second set for the game, Against the Tide, with 72 new Axis and Allies cards. If you like World War II, you like tabletop games, you like things for free, head over to darkestdayscg.com where you can get all of the info, and also hit me up in the comment section here in this video. I'll always check up on these, and also I'll try to link to our Discord server and other social media platforms in this video for you guys to check out. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with each one of these videos. I just want to remind everyone of a few caveats as we look at the prices here. Number one, all prices are assessed on April 1st, 2018. Number two, all prices are quoted in US dollars. Number three, all prices reflect the TCGplayer.com market price on the date of assessment. This is the point that people always try to argue with me. So yes, if you go on to TCGplayer.com right now, I guarantee you will find different prices for all of these cards. We're looking at the market price, which is a trailing average of actual cards bought and sold. The listings may vary, especially on different dates. And number four, all prices reflect the lowest rarity possible for a given card. So I'm always looking at the most common version. So we're not looking at Ubers, we're not looking at full arts, unless those are the more common versions of a particular card. So let's go ahead and take a look at the top 10 most valuable cards in Force of Will for April 2018. Number 10, we have Crimson Girl in the Sky, Little Red, the True Fairy Tale, the only Grim card this month on the top 10 most valuable cards at $10.96. Very solid ruler. Wanderer seems to be making a comeback. Definitely a deck that I never built. I have everything for this deck, including the Priscia Resonator and all of her friends, all the buffing spells, except for this ruler. It's pretty pricey still, being that Wanderer is not such a huge thing yet. But if you are interested in building this deck, I think $11 is probably the most expensive card in your deck. Well, I guess might be a few others, depending on how you build it. But that's not terrible. You only need one J Ruler card in your deck, obviously, and $11 is not terrible to pay for, especially being how powerful this one is. On to number 9, we have Zero, Six Sage of Light, Zero, Master of the Magic Saber at $12.83. She's fallen quite a bit in position and just a little bit in price, but still very solid at almost $13 a copy. I believe I personally have 3 or 4, including a full art of this very card. I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's very hard to envision a scenario in which this card would not be useful. Going forward into the Wanderer format, once the next cluster comes out and Lapis falls out of New Frontiers, it's still always going to be a staple card unless, God forbid, that Force of Will printed something that did the same thing but better, that was mathematically superior. But hard to imagine a scenario in which buffing your own Resonators for 1 light and then stripping your opponent's J/Resonators of their keyword skills would not be useful. It's always going to be good. Number 8, we have Freyla at $15.94. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't been following the meta too closely. You guys will have to correct me on this if I'm wrong. Freyla's gotta be one of these fan favorite cards. I don't see a lot of competitive top 8 lists that I've noticed lately that have Freyla at all, or any of the Dark Elves, so the price is probably justified by her fan favorite status. Pretty cool character, really awesome artwork for sure. At $16, there may be something in the works that's pushing the price of this card up. So people behind the scenes are starting to build decks around this card. It's a possibility. So there's kind of like a hidden demand that's making this card creep up in value. Number 7, we have Severing Winds, which I believe is only like 3 or 5 cents higher than it was last month at $17 now. That's pretty steep. I remember when Echoes of the New World first came out, we were able to buy these at around $8 to $10, so up to $17 a copy is very steep. If you're going to have Severing Winds, you need 4 of them. It's not saying that you need to run 4 in every deck. Probably most don't, but you want to aim to have a playset of this, and you have your work cut out for you if you're just getting into the game. I'm just going to tell you, they should have banned this in the last series of bans. I know that's going to spark a debate in the comments. But being that it's not, and you're going to play Force of Will, you got to have 4 copies of this card. So, I don't know, I guess if you're younger, save up some more of that allowance money, and if you're older, put in a few overtime hours at work to get enough money to buy a full playset. On the number 6 is Lumia the Fated Rebirth, Lumia Saint of the Crimson Lotus, sadly falling down in the ranks. She was number 1 for so long when I did this series last on my own channel, but she's now down to $18.36, which is still respectable, but her position has fallen quite a bit from what it used to be. My favorite ruler probably ever, and if I were to get back into Force of Will right now, the ruler I would be playing in one of her many incarnations. But still not bad at almost $19, around that area. But still at number 6, still on the top 10 list, probably will remain on the top 10 list for another few months. But I won't spoil anything. Very, very odd things are happening at the top of this list. Now at number 5, we have a ruler from the latest set, the Time Spinning Witch, Speaker of Eternal Night, and Scheherazade of the Catastrophic Knights at $36.19. Now let's just think for a minute. For months and months and months, the most valuable cards in the game were just north of $20, $20 to $25, at the very first and second spots. Now in dead middle in the pack at number 5, we have a card that's worth $36.19. Just think about that. Moving on to number 4, we have yet another ruler from Time Spinning Witch. Just came out, Princess of Fleeting Hope, and Aimul, Princess of Despair, at $43.26. At number 3, we have Welser the Archmage, Welser King of Demons from Advent of the Demon King, the last set, at $44.54. Do you see the amazing skyrocketing of prices on these newer rulers? Something, I'll get to this in just a moment. Something odd is going on here, and I don't think odd is synonymous with good in this particular instance. At number 2, we have the Dusk Girl, Scarlet, the Crimson Beast, yet another new ruler from the Time Spinning Witch at $45.02. And our number 1 card is Ayu, Lunar Swordswoman, Ayu Shaman Swordswoman from Advent of the Demon King, last set, at $51.19. I do have 2 of these. I'm really considering selling at least one of them on eBay. Now let's just take a moment to look and talk about these latter 5, these top 5 cards. They're all over $30, around $35 to $50, let's say, and they're all J rulers from the most recent 2 sets. Now something odd, I would say, is going on with these, and I'm going to offer, somewhat of a wild speculation, and you guys will have to clarify that, fight that out in the comments with me. But I don't think that this huge increase in prices is really a sign of health for the game. I really don't believe that this is actually a good thing that the prices are this high. If you compared, I used to take the top 50, and I didn't do a top 50 list because I'm not doing like a blog post on the JRuler site anymore for that. JRuler site doesn't exist anymore. But looking at the value of the rest of what would be the top 50 has been pretty dodgy lately. It's, a bit flatline, maybe down a little bit from what it had been when I was doing this on my channel. So on the one hand, you have the average price of cards being somewhat stable, maybe dipping down a little bit in recent months. But those at the very top of the distribution, those top 5 cards, are too or 3 times the average of what they used to be. So there's this huge disparity between the bulk of the cards and then these top 5 cards. Like, that to me signals the fact that in these most recent sets, Force of Will has possibly been restricting the supply on purpose to create a somewhat false sense of demand. Like, I hope, for those of you who are playing Force of Will, that is not the case. You guys who have followed me and Sacred Beats and our podcast, God rest its soul, know our stance on the secondary market and how things have, for us, gone south. Part of the reason why we don't play the game. I'm not here to piss on your parade if you're still playing the game, but I would just say that these really high inflated prices are a sign possibly of trouble. Now, depending on how the Force of Will company continues to reprint or meet whatever demand there may be going forward has yet to be seen. But the fact that there's such a huge disparity in the average card value in the game to the top 5 is just, it's just like way, way out of whack. To me, signals the fact that there may be some intentional distribution restrictions on behalf of the company to try to make the game seem a little bit more widely distributed or a little healthier than it possibly is. Now that could go into a whole nother discussion, and I'll save that if you guys would want and TCG Scrubs would allow. I could do a video on price trends and where I think the game is headed overall, but suffice it to say that something is a bit circumspect. So my advice to anyone who wants these cards and doesn't have them, I don't know what the distribution of these new rulers are, especially since they're like reprinting the starter deck rulers in these new sets also, so I'm not sure what the distribution is. I would imagine you might get, of the new Time Spinning Witch rulers, I think maybe you get 1 per box on average. That's about what I got with Welser and IU in Advent of the Demon King when Sacred Beats and I split a case. I ended up getting about 1 of those per box. I got 2 IU and then 1 Welser. My advice would be, if you don't have either or any of these new rulers, buy a case, or split a case with a friend, or buy 2 or 3 boxes. Chances are you will get them, even if you don't get the ones you want. You saw the prices. You could easily trade or sell it and get the cash to buy it. If you already bought several boxes and you're not really keen on doing that, I would honestly recommend doing without, rather than going out and paying $40, $50 for a single copy of this card, because we all know how TCGs are. The price could drop off to half or less tomorrow based on card bans. Some new strategy that comes out, people abandon an old strategy because there are now realized counters to it. So I wouldn't recommend throwing the cash down to buy one of those. A box of Force of Will is what, like $80, $90? And so if you're getting one of these new rulers per box, that's already half the value, not including all the rares, super rares, commons and uncommons, and everything else you're going to get. So if you want these cards and don't have them, buy a few boxes. If you've already bought a few boxes and don't have the ones you want, trade what you don't want for what you want, or I would say, honestly, try doing without at this point and see if the prices don't come back down to earth here in a few months. So that wraps it up for the top 10 most valuable Force of Will cards for the month of April 2018. I hope you guys did enjoy. Please let me know what you think in the comments section. I especially want to ask you guys what you think about these latter top 5 most valuable cards, and why perhaps there's this huge spike lately in the those top values as compared to the rest of them. Thanks again for the guys at TCG Scrubs for allowing me to do this video on their channel. I will be back next month with the top 10 most valuable cards for May 2018. And don't forget about the Darkest Days World War II card game at darkestdayscg.com. I'll try to put some links in the video description to the website, to our Discord server, Instagram, YouTube page, other social media presence. If you like World War II and tabletop card games, please check out Darkest Days. We just released Against the Tide, our latest set with 72 new cards for both the Axis and Allies, introduced several new nations and new game mechanics. It is 100% free to play. on Lackey CCG. You'll get a link to the plugin and the Lackey CCG application, 100% free to play. Don't forget to rate and share this video if you liked it, and subscribe to the TCG Scrubs channel. I'll talk to you guys next time.